Hey everybody, this is Barry Mankin here with the Holistic Home Health Podcast. We're here in Nashville, Tennessee, and we're going to go over a few things as it relates to some health issues for myself. So I get asked all the time, how do you keep yourself from being sick, or how do you deal with the toxic load in your own body because you're in mold and VOCs and crawl space, dirty locations every day. And I get that a lot. So we figure we just, cover the topic a little bit, talk about some of the modalities that we do or some of the biohacking that we do, which is, a big popular thing right now. The medical industry has changed quite a bit, and I think it's continuing. So the whole preventative side of things is really taking a front seat to how we deal with, our care, our medicine, et cetera, other than eating right and exercise and all that, which, working on still. But, with having a stressful business, it's hard to do that. And when your body is under stress, you hold on to things. And so we have a lot going on right now. So we're trying to be intentional and kind of like, if you will, pushing against all of those things just because we don't have time for a lot of things. So we're like, what can we do? What are some quick and easy things that have some benefits scientifically that it kind of helps us allow us to perform at a higher level or deal with the amount of stress that we have, or just to be able to continue to, deal with our calendar, which is right now crazy. We've been pulling our hair out here this summer. So anyway, lots of moving parts. If you're a small business owner, even if you're a stay-at-home mom and you have lots of kids, it's a stressful time. So let's talk about those things, and I'll kind of basically give you some of the things that I do for myself, if it's helpful. Obviously not a doctor specific, just for the house. And but these things have helped me, and I continue to experiment with some things, and I'm even excited to even talk about what we're looking at next, which is pretty awesome. We'll leave that for the end. So a little teaser for you. But right off the bat, other than, again, just mentally being in that focus to where you're taking care of yourself. You have to value your health. So we do all these things in people's homes so that they can be healthy, right? But we're the ones going in there, So we have to be intentional with everything that we do. So with that said, as an example, when I'm going in between jobs even, my environment, other than your house, is my truck. So I'm in that truck, in between every job. I drive a lot. And so what do I need to do for that truck? Obviously, keep it clean, keep it organized, right? The same particulate matter, right? Molds, all the things that I bring in there, I have to manage. Otherwise, again, I'm the filter. So we've talked about that before. So when you're in an enclosed space, you're subject to that environment. Now, that's VOCs from the outside. That's VOCs from the inside, combustion, all the debris that I bring in there, all the mold spores that I bring in there, VOCs from whatever equipment that I've got, depending on how the heat this time of year reacts through the windows and off gases things in the truck, So we use just simple things like I'll bring in some fresh air makeup. It's just a little setting on your vent. I have a cabin filter that I change regularly in my truck, and I make sure that it's carbon because it helps with some level of exterior VOCs and carbon emissions that could come from the outside, since you're like dealing with traffic. And then I have a separate HEPA filter with carbon inside the cabin. That is a larger unit. And I just plug that into my outlet that I've got there. And then I have something to attack the air. We always promote lots of defense and a little bit of offense, right? So we've got basically some multi-cluster ionization. going on, so it's attacking the air. And between the dilution, the absorption, and the filtration, and again attacking those particulates, that helps coming between jobs. And then of course an antimicrobial wipe down every once in a while of the equipment and the inside of the truck, and that sort of thing. Decon 30, is kind of like a standard antimicrobial that is natural. Some people can handle it. Some people that are sensitized can't handle much. So, or an enzyme-based treatment, something more natural is always good. So that's how I treat the inside of my vehicle alone, right? So just going in between the houses. So to back that up, before I even get in the truck, right? How do I prepare? How do I deal with, usually the weekends, we try to do what my wife and I call self-care Sunday. So sometimes it's Saturdays, depending on how the weekend goes. But we try to introduce as many of those modalities as possible for this, different things or therapies that we can do. And then, of course, I'm getting all the lingo from the kids now. It's called habit stacking. So the more time that you can put all these modalities into one thing for your time. So we try to do that too, because there's no time anymore. So as an example, I've got a whole list here, and we'll talk about some of the benefits of doing these things. But so just stretching, simple yoga, everything's about you're a machine, basically, right? How do we hold on to things? Again, we're the filter. So that doesn't just mean our lungs. I mean, that's our kidneys. That's the rest of our system. How our muscles hold on to things. Our fat stores things. I mean, our brain, our organs, everything stores whatever is filtered through our body. And the idea is we want to make that process as fluid as possible so that we're efficient, and the way we do it's mostly mechanical, believe it or not. So things like, honestly, coming into sweating, it is a natural way to purge, if you will, lots of water, and then get into that sauna, and I have one of those tent saunas. And then when I'm on that tent sauna, I do a couple other things, right? So let's talk about sauna therapy here. I'll see if I can pull it up. So many things that you can do while you're in a sauna, at least the tent one. I'll do some bilateral audible therapy where I'm hearing music, but it's bouncing back and forth. It kind of stimulates the brain on both sides. So if there's any repair that has to happen, that's a neat way to deal with that, and just keep your brain firing all the time, because you get weighed down with all of these things. If you're sweating, you're heating your body up. You're penetrating, depending on the type of sauna that you have, you're penetrating through. The waves are penetrating through your skin. And it's getting to those deeper layers to actually release and open up those deeper layers to push whatever's in your skin cells at the deepest level that you can find, and some of your organs, some of your obviously fat, muscle cells, all that. You want to purge, and so if you're allowing your body to just process this water. And try to, get as pure water as you can. You can get into the hydrogen water, which we'll talk about. But, I'll do that. I'll purge. And then while I'm just sweating as much as I can, because that's the body's natural way to release toxins, I'll also, again, do this other modality here as it relates to the bilateral therapy with audibly, and then I'll read too. So I'm getting input, I'm getting stimulation both from my eyes, my eye gate and my ear gate, if you will, while I'm purging at the same time. And then that kind of helps bring in good things while you're getting out bad things, if you will. So at least that's how it works in my mind. Then even before I get to doing like a weekend thing, once a month, I'm doing IV cocktails for vitamins. So we'll do that once a month. And basically, you've got the level of absorption you're going to get from something liquid as opposed to taking oral is quite a bit different depending on your gut health. So ideally, in a perfect world, if we were like receiving everything in our guts were perfect, which they're not with the food that we have and the water and all, the stress that we have, and all our bodies are not designed to live forever, and then we're already stressed out. So if the body is already under a load, a toxic load, and it's under stress, you're not going to receive any nutrients from your foods, whatever's in there, much less at whatever rate that you need to actually function and to get your body as healthy as possible, and then, again, process anything that shouldn't be in your body. So being able to have rapid hydration, nourish the cells. You get your dose of B12, vitamin C. You can even do like NAD+. Those are all really, really good things. It's even in recovery, like if you're fatigued and you just need like acute recovery, that will help that stressful process, or you're exercising, that will help that recovery process for your body to get those nutrients as quickly as possible to kind of re-stimulate everything and be ready for the next day, or the week. In my case, the month. So it does have lasting effects, So I would say, for me, at least my experience, every couple few weeks, and after that, I start to drop off a little bit. So we kind of supplement that we do other supplements, orally too. But the main cocktail I do with, your typical multivitamins, vitamin C. I think that's way more beneficial. You get 5 times more efficacy of that as it relates to absorption into your body and getting to the places that it all needs to go, instead of just typically you either sweat it out or pee it out or something like that. So you really don't get the absorption if it's orally. Now, what they don't offer, I do orally. So things that would be like fish oil. I take that, and that's, basically that helps with cognitive function. It keeps everything lubricated, your eyes, all your different organs. The fish oil is very, very healthy for you. The other thing with that would be magnesium. Magnesium is really, really good for you. Trying to pull up some of these things as it relates to specifics. Immune health, energy metabolism, cellular repair, all those things all those buzzwords everybody talks about. And some of this is, we're supposed to get minerals and nutrients from our food, right? So the quality of the soil that we have now, whether you want to get into the thing with Monsanto or whatever, that's a whole other topic. But like what we're eating is not really nourishing us and keeping us healthy. And we try to get more natural foods and all of that sort of thing. However, there's already a depletion there. Your body is already in a stressful state, so it can't even absorb whatever's available. So you need some sort of supplementation. Once you deal with that, I would say you're going to, or it says here, 90% of the people don't hit their daily micronutrient needs from diet alone, which is to what we said. Obviously, vitamin C, it's essential antioxidant. It neutralizes free radicals in your body, boosts collagen production, immune defense, adrenal recovery under stress. Vitamin A, fat-soluble vitamin, critical for immune function and skin health. It supports vision, cellular repair, and antiviral. Fish oil reduces systemic inflammation, supports brain health, cognitive clarity, joint mobility. Zinc for your enzyme function. All kinds of different enzyme functions with this. Again, immunity, wound healing, testosterone balance, fights viruses. Magnesium, nerve transmission and muscle relaxation, reduces anxiety, improves sleep. I take that before I go to bed every night. That's usually when I do that. It helps me rest and recover. So all of these things that you typically wouldn't get at a cocktail, because I don't think they offer these, those are the ones that I still take. So if I work on my gut health to receive a little bit more of it, I'm trying to find a balance with these things. But these all help me stay where I need to stay. And so nitric oxide boosters enhances blood flow, cellular oxygenation. So that's huge. Cardiovascular health, performance, and brain oxygenation. So that's to me a good balance of something that I can take orally. So again, if I'm working on my diet a little bit, if I'm receiving what I can for my body to work as that machine needs to work, and also help process the things that I'm exposed to every day, I've got to be this intentional. So, and I would argue everybody does, regardless of if you're in mold every day or not. But it depends on your budget and your needs and all that sort of thing. So let's talk about other things as it relates to some of these modalities. So we talked about IV therapy. Again, all your main vitamins that you're going to get, they've got all kinds of options for that sort of thing too. Again, we talked about NAD plus, and some other ways that they blend the cocktail. They can put other things in there, but the supplements that I listed, those are mainly oral. So I kind of balance those out. We sweat. The bilateral therapy. Let's talk about that, because we mentioned that as part of our process while we're sweating. Reading, it's whenever you read. I mean, I try to do a book a month, but I don't always get there. So I'm working on that. But it's huge to be able to stimulate your brain in such a way. We receive so much information from these things, right? And we're rarely actually physically going through a process other than the EMFs and the light, which is a whole other subject, that stimulates our brain in another way, just to be able to process it and read simply, and not have all these the other noise of frequencies going on and all that sort of thing. Very, very helpful to stimulate your brain. We talked about gut health. So again, I know we're jumping around here. Probiotics and prebiotics, right? Trying to get your gut health even to where you can receive these things that we talk about in the first place. So, serotonin production, digestion, improving that, reducing inflammation. Everything's about inflammation. Everything's about inflammation. It's kind of like what we say with buildings. We talk about the building and we say, oh, everything we're trying to do, we say it's always water, right? Water is kind of like inflammation for the house, if you will. I think I just coined that phrase. So take note of that. Water is inflammation for the house. So, but if we think about it, you have that temple and you have this temple, right? And so we spend so much time here that we're exposed to everything there. But this one, we're not as intentional. Sometimes not with either one, but we have to think of it as the same, because it works the same. All the principles are the same. So 70-80% of the immune system is housed in the gut, right? I'm sure you've heard that from other doctors. So again, being intentional with all of these things is huge for your inflammation. And it allows you to receive all the money that you put into these supplements and these different modalities. Like, you're only going to get so much benefit if the center or your foundation, if you will, isn't attuned or able to receive it. Let's see here. We talked about antimicrobial wipe downs, even for bacteria. Honestly, whenever you're getting into it's not just mold, it's bacteria as well. Bacteria is huge. That doesn't get addressed very much. Let's see here. It's about exposure, guys. The more exposure we have, the more we have to filter. All right, so stretching. I do some yoga, not necessarily all the woo-woo part, but like stretching your body, taking these principles. Again, physically getting that stuff out of the deeper places in your body where you hold on to that stuff. That's where the inflammation is. You have to physically work it out. So whether you're getting some sort of massage therapy with that, I try to do that once a month, to where they're doing like deep tissue. And other than stretching myself, I'll get some work on me as well, and then we'll help that process again, push it out so that the natural functions of the body and the sweating and everything will again excrete all of those, all of that contamination. You do this along with, just some mindfulness. Even meditation helps your process. Just being quiet and listening more than we're talking, and those types of practices. When you balance that stuff, there's so many little benefits to all of this, and you try to add these things up. No one thing is going to fix everything. It's just like the house, right? So we try to do that. Not nearly as much as I'd like to, but I work on it. Breathing movements are so much intention with breath work for your sleep, your calmness. Again, back to meditation. All of these things is just being intentional with every aspect of every function of your body. It helps with your flexibility, your lymphatic drainage system. Again, that modality that we're getting stuff out, that keeps that open. Let's see here. It even helps prevent injury when you're doing this stuff. Promotes circulation. Emotional regulation comes into that. Again, I'm not, speaking as an authority. It's just the things that come up that help me be able to function. Stress, neuroplasticity, helps sleep quality, etc. Even prayer, all of that sort of thing. Obviously, we're a God-centered organization, and so that's kind of where we go for what we do to center ourselves and our businesses and everything that we do. So having that thankful mindset, being able to be centered on whatever you believe. But that intention kind of goes hand in hand with that. Chiropractic care. So whenever all of these things, life and the stress and again, you're trying to bat everything to the middle, to the center, to find some kind of a hum. Whenever you get out of alignment, which you do, because all the muscles, all the stress, everything pulls everything in different directions, or you have injury, or you're just getting older, having yourself aligned all the time so that while you're working on all these other things, you're centered. And just getting that, even for how you think, especially your upper cervical, I have gotten so much benefit out of that because being in construction most of my life, working with my hands most of my life, that has really helped me. In fact, we talked about, I think I'll just do a shout out for Deering Clinic here in town. Dr. Deering, Justin Deering, he actually cured my vertigo, which we met a while ago, but I've been with him ever since. I couldn't go on the ocean because of previous injuries, and my body wasn't lined. At least my head wasn't lined up, and that goes to some of that bilateral therapy stuff. But just getting your brain retrained, because your brain, the way you think, is directly, again, related to your gut and how you're physically aligned in your body. So if you get that type of therapy, it helps you be centered so that everything else can function holistically. That has helped me quite a bit. I can go fishing on the ocean now where I couldn't do that before. I would get seasick, and now I can. And it would literally, I attribute that to him. So we're going to have him on as a guest, and we're going to talk about environmental influences to the body from his perspective. So he'll be coming at some point here. So look for him, Deering Clinic. Little shout out for you. So realigning that, realigns the spine and nervous system, enhances mobility, nerve interference, optimizes brain body communication, bilateral eye movement, and music therapy. Basically, this is based off the EMDR principles and neuroplasticity. So helps process trauma, improve mood regulation, stimulate both hemispheres of the brain. It can rewire even subconscious patterns like an emotional detox. So we hold on to all kinds of stuff, right? So again, without getting too hippie or too, whatever, I'm just trying to give some principles of things that we try to do to work on every angle, so that again we can, have our own experience. Everybody's going to be different with this stuff, but this is something that I value, and I think it works for me. One of my favorite things to do is to take methylene blue. Methylene blue has all kinds of benefits, and it's a proven, historically proven dye that has benefits as it relates to inflammation. So it enhances mitochondrial function, ATP production, improves cognitive function and memory, energy, and historically it was used as an anti-malarial, and now been repurposed for a nootropic. So you combine this now with this other modality. So these two I do quite a bit, or I try to combine them as much as I can. Red light therapy. Everybody's heard of red light therapy. Huge. Stimulates mitochondria again, reduces inflammation again, skin healing, muscle recovery, joint pain relief, collagen production, penetrates the tissues 8 to 10 millimeters deep, activating cellular energy. You take, or at least what I've experienced, you take the methylene blue and you combine that with red light therapy, and it's just like benefits on steroids. Everything permeates, right? So it's a huge, really, really, really neat combination of modalities. Again, it's part of that habit stacking thing. So again, I'll also do that bilateral therapy sometimes when I'm in the red light, depending on your scenario. But all these are just like things that have different levels of benefits. Even the cold plunges or the cold showers, after you go through and you sweat and everything, then we'll go in the shower and I'll finish with your head and like my veins to my heart. And I'll finish that with as cold as I can get it, because that boosts all kinds of cellular activity to stimulate repair in your body. So that's a good way because you're already hot, so you might as well do that. So there's several, especially the upper, the head is where like 80% of that benefit comes from, your face and your head. So lastly, here's what I'll talk about. The latest thing that that we're looking at, which I'm really, really excited about, is other than hydrogen water has some benefit. And it's all about the amount that you put in there, really. And then you do your research on all this stuff, obviously. But the next thing that we're, I guess, purchasing that I'm really excited about is hydrogen inhalation therapy. This is wicked awesome. I have not seen any negative side effects anywhere researching this type of therapy. It's very, very popular in all of the Eastern countries, and it is actually a regular practice in most of medical practice out there. So hospitals, cancer recovery, you name it, even dementia, there's a lot of claims. I'll just put it that way. However, it makes sense, at least in concept. We're all made out of water. And so what we're doing is breaking that water down, separating the hydrogen and the oxygen. And when you get strict hydrogen, here's what happens. It's a selective antioxidant and modulator of oxidative stress. Promotes cell regeneration. So it's like fountain of youth stuff here. Reduces inflammation, enhances mitochondrial repair better than anything else. It permeates at a cellular level. It's the smallest molecule that there is. So it gets to every cell and every organ of your body to do repair specific. So there's no place it can't go. Astronauts use it, divers use it, right? It is the most, I guess, universal element out there for us to be able to take advantage of. And there's people that say actually there's not even as much available oxygen out there today. That's, all this is debatable. All this is just different studies. But you take everything with a grain of salt. However, all of these different benefits here, even for stroke patients, the exertion for neurodegenerative conditions, when you have damage in your brain, or you're full of toxins, mycotoxins, whatever you've dealt with as it relates to any type of reaction to your environmental conditions, chronic inflammatory response syndrome, right? This is all has to do with your body's load being here all the time, and then you get tipped over the edge, right? So if you're working on this side, it's that offense and defense, right? The defense is going to be dealing with the exposure, which is in your environment. So you deal with the environment, but then dealing with yourself is kind of like offense. So if you're hitting it on both ends, you have a higher percentage of rate to be restorative, to heal, and to be healthy, and then to be preventative. So if you're being triggered by some of these things, for those of you that are highly sensitized, I'm just saying, for me, this hydrogen inhalation therapy is the best thing I've seen. So I would, lymphatic drainage, cortisol. I mean, it does so many different things. Very, very excited about it, obviously. You have to be careful with it because, too much hydrogen on its own with a flame, not so good. Just like oxygen, not so good. There's oxygen therapy. There's, oxygen chambers. Those all have huge benefits. But this specific hydrogen inhalation therapy, and some of them combine it with some oxygen too. We're talking about accelerating recovery, improves focus, enhances wound and neural repair, brain fog, fatigue, long COVID symptoms even. So basically, you're increasing the oxygen delivery to all of your tissues at every cell of your body. So, I guess they tell you like 30 minutes to an hour at a shot, getting that high levels of that, and there's no side effects that I have seen at all. You just breathe it back out, right? So that's a lot. But I wanted to at least share, this is how intentional, you think about being intentional with your house. And we're all a work in progress, right? So for me, with all the research that I've done and the things that I've experienced and what I have had to do, both, from that construction end to being exposed to a lot of contaminants all the time, other than PPE, which we all know PPE, it's really going to be about that, these types of other options and just introducing these things. Trust your doctors with this stuff, talk to them about these things, experience any of these things for yourself. And, if it's helpful for you, I hope that you get something out of it. And anyway, we'll see you next time. And check in with Deering Clinic. And then we've got some other functional doctors that we're going to be bringing in here pretty soon as well. So have a good one. Thanks.